Well, hello, friends. Why not view this? Why not, you know? We could view a lot of different things in the world, but why not view this? Oh, shit! Oh, my God. I was going to, before I started this, I was going to, get more cigarettes because I'm out of cigarettes. And I didn't do it before I started. So I think what I'm going to do is put up the following. Getting Smoked BRB. I think I'll turn up my scrolling boobs. Bring that up. I guess what I'll do is put on some music while I go get cigarettes. As per me, yeah. It's almost drug take back day. I don't take back any of my drugs. I don't take back any of it. Not one bit. If anything, I think that's crazy talk. That's the kind of crazy talk that drives people wild. Alright, but I gotta go get more smokes. As soon as I set this up, we'll be right back. Everybody's got their opinion, yell at me to get my attention. To present their women, though decision. Reject my blocks with their derision. Never quite get concision. Requires a penchant for honest repentance of wrong, bad conventions, unwisely retentions, and karma's pimp. I'm talking to you, my friend, because you're not being honest. I'm sick and tired of people leaving comments, saying shit that makes me wanna vomit. Saying stuff like I didn't respond to what you were responding to. But take a timestamp or leave me a clue or give me any kind of cue, like maybe quoting me to you would be a good opportunity for you to specify what you mean, motherfucker. I'm sorry, I don't want any more of your self-important bullshit. I know I offend your sense of equality. I'm special. Eric's not in the mood for your bullshit. And so he made this song to call you out. Restyled most of the shit. It's still way more wild and woolly and fine and good. And when you should know what I had to teach you, karma's bent and all. Just shy, go fucking fall to hell. Your bullshit is so rank and stupid. I don't know what to do with it. It makes me want to poop in your face.
Just a day. To work more.
Winter hours, shortened days, make me work in different ways. When it's gray, cool like this, it's easier. We give and we take, we earn what we make. The work is ample, but it must be done, and we'll keep on.
just a day, 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 just a day.
Winter hours, shortened days, make me work in different ways. We give and we take, we earn what we make. The work is ample, but it must be done, and we'll keep on.
Just a day.
Till the morning sun we take, we earn what we make. The work is ample, but it must be done. Give and we take, we earn what we make. The work is ample, but it must be done. Give and we take, we earn what we make. The work is ample, but it must be done. And we'll keep on, till the morning sun. It's easier. He's Gregory in disguise. He hates the lies, wants to confront the men, always telling them. But every time he tries, they only run and hide. Again he is denied, chance to yell at them. So now he's Gregory in disguise, hands in his pockets. Now he's walking down the drive, averts his eyes. He doesn't want you guys to realize that he's Gregory in disguise, hands in his pockets. Now he's walking down the drive, averts his eyes. He doesn't want you guys to realize that bridge brings a new approach. Sneakily he'll try to encroach up on the guilty. Then he'll finally get his chance to yell at them. He's Gregory in disguise, hands in his pockets. Now he's walking down the drive, averts his eyes. He doesn't want you guys to realize he's Gregory in disguise, hands in his pockets. Now he's walking down the drive, averts his eyes. He doesn't want you guys to realize that he's Gregory in disguise. He hates the lies, wants to confront the men, always telling them. But every time he tries, they only run and hide. Again he is denied, chance to yell at them. He's Gregory in disguise, hands in his pockets. Now he's walking down the drive, averts his eyes. He doesn't want you guys to realize he's Gregory in disguise, hands in his pockets. Now he's walking down the drive, averts his eyes. He doesn't want you guys to realize he's Gregory in disguise, hands in his pockets. Now he's walking down the drive, averts his eyes. He doesn't want you guys to realize he's Gregory in disguise, hands in his pockets. Now he's walking down the drive. He's Gregory. Seems like years that I've been pressing forward in this barrier area, which precludes me from progressing past this point. Every time I step on that, I learn just as little I know about what. Every time I step on that, I learn just as little I know about what. Seems like years that I've been pressing forward in this barrier area, which precludes me from
am progressing past this point. Wherefore art thou, Borneo? I'm back. I'm back and I'm better than ever. Well, yeah, it tastes like chemicals. It's that specific. Well, here's the thing. Here's the ridiculousness. So earlier, when Rachel and I went and got Whippets, I got 2 packs of cigarettes at the time. But I also had just gotten a pack of cigarettes. It's just the reason I got 2 packs of cigarettes because if you get it at the Whippet store, they're cheaper if you pay cash because they don't charge you tax if you're not using a card, you know. So I might as well get a couple packs. And then I left them in the car. Because I had a pretty full pack, right? So, when I finished that pretty full pack, I just went and I got in the car. But I didn't notice that I had my cigarettes in the car right away. I didn't notice it until I got to the gas station, was getting out of the car to go buy cigarettes, and then I saw, oh, they're right there, my cigarettes from earlier. I forgot about those. So, I didn't even need to go to the gas station. I just drove right, so I didn't get out of the car. I drove right back here, and I already had 2 brand full packs of cigarettes in the car. I just didn't remember them or notice them until I got to the gas station. So, it turns out I didn't need to go get cigarettes after all. They were in the car the whole time. Oh no! Oh no! What craziness, right? What kind of craziness is that? Some kind of craziness, that's for sure. The kind of craziness that makes a man want to say, hey, 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 that's some crazy stuff. Anyhow, I've been learning how to do some things in OBS, as you can see. It's really easy to get a scrolling background in OBS. You don't have to animate anything or whatever. You just get a picture and turn on the filter scroll. And you can scroll it vertically or horizontally. It's like, okay, this is starting to get a little easier for me to conceptually work with. Also, I can do the visuals of the dolls without worrying about the audio. And then I can do the audio after the fact and cut it and yeah, you know. Yes, well, that is some classic intuitard stuff there. Looking for something that's in your pocket or you're holding it in your hand. Also a classic intuitard move. Holding something in your hand while trying to do something else, like walking into a room, having like this and this in my hand, and then without putting them down, trying to type something on the keyboard. Classic intuitard move. So I feel like I made a lot of learning progress the last couple of days. Shit tons. Like, okay, I get what I'm going to do with shorts now in general, how I'm going to approach it. I haven't quite mastered I'm nowhere near mastering the interface of it. Like anticipating how I want the guy to move so it's not too herky-jerky and random. That's going to take some time to figure out from from having done it a few times, you know. So my most recent short, I'm hoping will do well on the shorts feed and everything, because it's got a couple of things that people seem to respond well to, in shorts thumbs in particular. And the number one of those things, of course, and this has long been true in life. I don't think this is a new phenomenon, but one of the most important things to have in a thumbnail, or in any kind of thing really in life, if you want to be successful, if you want to really win in the game of life, well, what's a critically important factor to consider? The answer is boobs. My name's Corduroy. Do you know there are 9 kinds of women's chests? Please comment, which are your boobs, or which boobs would you like to have if you don't have a girl? Which kind of boobs does your girl have? Tell me, I'm curious. My name's Corduroy. Do you know there are 9 kinds of women's chests? Please comment, which are your boobs, or which boobs would you like to have if you don't have a girl? Which kind of boobs does your girl have? Tell me, I'm curious. My name's Corduroy. Do you know there are 9 kinds of women's chests? Please comment, which are your boobs, or which boobs would you like to have if you don't have a girl? Which kind of boobs does your girl have? Tell me, I'm curious. My name's Corduroy. Do you know there are 9 kinds of women's chests? Please comment, which are your boobs, or which boobs would you like to have if you don't have a girl? Which kind of boobs? So what is the moral of the story there? In my opinion, if I got this right, that should be as successful as a video can be as a short, because it's got all the pieces of short success that you want. Number one, in the thumb you can see boobs. Boobs are, I've noticed from the thumbs, the shorts thumbs, hi Byron Grant. I've noticed from the thumbs that of the shorts that have like 24 million views or whatever, they all have one of two things. Boobs or animals, okay? So, we've got boobs. Number 2, it's short for a short. It's shortish for a short, which means I don't use the full 15 seconds. It's like 9 seconds. That helps, okay? Number 3, it asks you to evaluate 9 different things that are interesting to evaluate, but you have no possible way of evaluating in that amount of time. So, you're going to have to watch it over and over again to decide which boobs it is. It does show all 9 boobs in the 9 seconds, but it doesn't start on number 1. Also, it's presented as a curiosity of Lando Calrissian, aka Corduroy, and it just happens to look like Lando Calrissian. Alright, cool. The instructions are easy squeezy. So, it shouldn't be too offensive to anybody, because it's like, it's asking which are your boobs, or which boobs does your girl have, or if you don't have a girl, which boobs you wish you had, or whatever. Corduroy's curious. Now, so if it were me doing it instead of Corduroy, it would be like, that guy's a creepy old man, or some other bullshit like that, right? Because, I don't know. But the way it's done here, it should, if I'm getting shorts right, it should work. It's not too, like, suggestive or anything. Even if he pulls the dreaded ESFP trick on you? Who? Who's pulling the dreaded ESFP trick on me? But do you see what I'm saying about that short? It should be very successful by my analysis of how shorts work. Number one thing is you got to have a a thumb that draws people in. This has got a couple of disparate elements, each of which might be interesting, but to see them together, I think hopefully will be enough to have a reasonably high click-through rate. And then once they watch it, they gotta have a high watch ratio, or watch time, which for shorts is over 100% usually. Although I've had shorts be successful as low as 88%. I'm sorry to say, but you have the ESFPs. I don't say that. I just say, listen, you may not want to be typed this, but you're an ESFP, but let me tell you all the wonderful things about ESFPs. Like a leukemia. There's nothing wrong with you. You're an ESFP. It's just kind of like you have ontological leukemia. No, I don't think that. I'm a good guy, remember? I'm not one of the bad guys. I need to eat a little food. Well, I mean, there's lots of good things about being ESFP. It's really about your circumstances, you know? Tom Brady's probably an ESFP. Or, how about you send me some money? I mean, I think that's really the key thing to remember is that there's nothing wrong with a personality type. What we're really describing are two kinds of situations. One is attempting to dispassionately view the paradigms of the status quo and the extent to which they uphold or negate the values implicit in various types. So it is true that the modern world is less receptive to ESFPs, and that the world offers fewer opportunities to really go full ESFP. Like, until not super long ago, there was always a wilderness, an unknown, and a capacity to disappear, you know? And to reinvent yourself, break new ground, whatever, in a real concrete way. That's not so much there anymore. It sort of is, but those things end up coming with a lot of hoops to jump through, which ESFPs can do very successfully. But the modern world also punishes imperfections in certain areas, and the external interactions of people are more or less adjudicated by a TIFE metrics because those are the external attentional manners appropriate accordingly. The main consideration in your mind is to ensure that the shorts you create will still support and reinforce the values of your main channel. Why? That's weird. That's super weird. I mean, they do. It's the same guy. I make the same kind of jokes on this channel. If it weren't for shorts, those kind of videos would end up being on the channel anyway. With the dolls and stuff, they just wouldn't get any views. Thanks to shorts, they can get some views. I'm a lot of different things, you know. I am a humorist. I'm a philosopher. I'm a typologist. I'm a musician. I'm a video maker. I'm a public personality. I'm a public discursive factor. I prescribe various sets of norms as desirable or ought to be universalized, and yet I'm not particularly advice giving on the particulars level. So, the thing is, it's very much, I will always be a moralist first. Which is to say, you'll never find me selling out my basic positions and principles on things in order to get views. That's never going to happen. On the other hand, something that might happen is that I might make something that I consider more banal than it needs to be, or less informative than it ought to be, or more candy than makes it worth much, and I might still put it up and knowing it'll get good views even though I don't think it has a whole lot of value. That's different than putting up something that I disagree with, pretending like I agree with it in order to pander. Well, if we get tired of jungle, I've got lots of other options. Now that I understand how to do this, I watched this little video by this guy explaining how to make your background scroll on OBS. It's so easy, and I was just like, oh my god, I've been doing this shit I did yesterday, but I was doing the hard way. So, if you get tired of the forest, let's see. What are some other options we have? But the forest is pretty good. There are so many shorts now, it's ridiculous. We really don't have that many pictures. I'm going to take a picture. I'm going to take a still from this. This would be a good thing to scroll across. That might be a good thing to scroll across too. So in order to do this, first thing I make them into stills. It's like I could do this kind of stuff with video, but that starts really overwhelming in terms of resources, you know? So, this is a much better way to do things. Okay, let me extract photo from this one first. Look, photo. Save the file. And then I'm going to save it to this folder here. Yeah. Yeah. Then back. Yes, I really want to go back. I hate when you always ask me that. Just stop asking me. I wouldn't push back if I didn't really want to go back, you know? You know, if I did and I didn't, then that's my bad. You know, you don't have to blame yourself, Windows Movie Maker. You're not responsible for my dumbness, okay? That's what it boils down to. If I'm dumb, then that's what I get what I deserve. You know? I actually think. Let's see. That's a pretty good photo there. Let me get this one too, though. That's pretty good. And this one. Okay, good. Saved file. Yeah. Everything's so hard. It's like, okay, stop already. Okay, now I'm done with that. Now it's so much easier now, though, because why? Because look at this. I can turn off this image, make a new image, and make it go up this time too, instead of down. Isn't that crazy? We're going to start with this one and show you up scrolling. Up scrolling is the future of visual effects. Yeah, it is. We're talking about up scrolling. Up or down, even. That's the crazy thing. You can even scroll down. Maybe I prefer this going sideways, actually. No, it still doesn't have. It's not very seamless, is it? Well, you know what? That's fine. It doesn't have to be that seamless. We can just creep gradually along. Okay. Now, the next thing we gotta do is make it shorter. Oh no, that was wrong. Now we gotta make it back big again. Like this. Like this. Like this. And then we gotta move it down. Oh yeah, there. Now we're just creeping along, right? Pretty fun. Pretty fun. But I just did this one for fun. The really good one. Yet this time you did a ridiculous, over-emotional, overstated thumbnail to grab our attention. I must say it worked. You know, I don't consider that pandering, right? I'm not representing anything that I don't believe in, or something like that, you know. I'm just trying to be impactful rather than non-impactful, basically. Alright, so I saved the best one for last. I'm not sure which one of these will actually end up being the best, so I'm going to start with this one. So there are 3 versions of the same thing. Okay, now, filter. Scroll. Okay, so we got this one. Again, pretty stark seam there, you know. Pretty stark seam. So let's try a different one. Try to minimize the seam. Okay. How about this one? Filter. Scroll. Still pretty stark seam. Okay, well, let's try our third choice. We got one more option here. Maybe a less stark seam. Is it this one? Let me see if it's different than 6. No, it's the same. Okay, so I need to change this one. Browse to this one. Okay. Now, is this the same? No. Good. Alright, now, filters, scroll, well, that's like the worst one of all. Well, I think we can see the oh, this is interesting. So by limiting the width of it, you can avoid that seam problem. You learn something new every day, right? Yeah, you do. You learn one new thing every day. So now this is the limited width version of this, but now it doesn't seem to be scrolling. So let's look at the scroll. Well, that's because I don't have it on. Not vertical scroll, dummy. That's the dumb guy's way of doing dumb things. There. So now, put myself right there, and I'll meow the meow. There, look, now I'm running along the track. What do you think? How many ghosts have you not seen? I haven't really had many or any distinctly paranormal experiences, although I do remember Catastrophe Bear. Catastrophe Bear was rather paranormal. I found a cursed bear, and I think it's fair to call it a cursed bear. I'm not one to jump to that kind of conclusion, but it did sufficient convincing to me that I would go, okay, either you're a cursed bear or not, but regardless, I've had enough of the bad luck that seems to go along with you, you know. So I realize now that making it not all the way across doesn't really help at all. It still has the same problem, so I guess I'll just not limit the width. No reason to limit the width if your mom's face is all over it. That's what they say back in the hood where I grew up, Hollywood. What's up? Oh yeah. Alright, tonight, alright, for all night till the morning light. Alright. Okay, so now that I'm done fucking around with that, paranormality is a source of great interest to me, and yet also yeah, well, those things happen occasionally. Look, when you're learning on the job, and I'm definitely learning on the job, Dark Sunshine, there's going to be some down nights, okay? There are going to be some live streams where I'm not producing the kind of banter and engagement that would win me friends and allies, let alone viewers. But such is part of what comes with the deal when you want to have a forest move behind you like this, and you want to understand, like, okay, am I taking full advantage of this particular capacity of OBS that I just learned of? Like, this forest blends nicely into itself, right? There's not really an obvious seam. But, in contrast to the pictures I put up, for my own pictures, they did more have obvious seams. So, yeah, you obviously you need to do something to make sure it doesn't seam out like that, right? And the funny thing about you mentioning this is, by and large, I feel as though I'm doing a better job, being a better video maker, and being a more responsible video maker in terms of what I'm considering and understanding. Like, I was mad at myself earlier because of this exception helping to explain what I'm talking about. I knew after I made that Dr. Ramani video that I needed to do a second take of that before I published it, because I was getting accustomed to the mechanics of switching between things and stuff while I was doing it. And I'd put all that time into clipping out those little clips and stuff. So I really needed to do another take of it. And I did, and I published it, and I regret it, right? But that's what I mean by getting to be more responsible in my video making. I don't mean like socially responsible. I mean attentive to NI more successfully, as to what things deserve the time and are going to make a huge difference, and what things are going to make a small difference for a lot of time. I didn't buy them. They were gifts from my clients. I don't buy stupid shit like that. As if I got to spend all my money on weed and stuff, you know? I don't got money for stupid stuff. You can't really, though. That's the problem, Siegfried. The kind of NI I lack isn't linked to, generally speaking, a lack of understanding. It's linked instead to well, you know, in any given thing I'm making, it's a succession of choices, and it's all got to come together in a singular NI whole. And sometimes I will miss a factor or two, but the reason you can't in general is that's not how I work, you know? And that's something that people don't in general get, is that when you look at stuff I'm doing or stuff I make or whatever, you're evaluating the quality of the media, good or bad, entertaining or not. Like basically, that piece of steak in my seat is bugging me. There. So it's like, in this instance, I should have done another take. I knew it, but it's not the sort of thing that somebody else can help me with because I'm, broadly speaking, working alone. You know, it's like I'm on the hunt of something and I'm chasing it down to the end. You know, there's no consistent NI problem. In this instance, it was underweighting a value that had a great deal of significance, even though fixing it would have been comparatively time cheap to the time I already put in setting it up. In other words, getting everything all, yes, yeah, and then resting the last little bit. It's not really something anybody can help me with. You know, it's a bad habit of mine. The best I can do is try to know myself away from that, right? You have no recollection of what? My girlfriend woke up to me sitting on our bed and staring blankly into darkness and mumbling about someone sneaking around in our house. Then I apparently just fell back asleep. Just fell back asleep. She apparently had a hard time going back to sleep after that. I have no recollection of it other than being scared as fuck during the night for some reason. Maybe it's the same thing responsible for the purple dots on my driveway. I don't think extroverted intuition is the greater or lesser intuition or something. I think that extroverted intuition is not really intuition. It's just it pays in the currency of introverted intuition, or it fails to. But extroverted intuition doesn't express as intuitiveness at all, except in the first and second slot. So it's like in the third slot, my dad's extroverted intuition is expressed as he likes to do his ideas, and if it's not his idea, he doesn't like it, and it's really an expression of his relationship with SI. He wants to know that in his head, what he has anticipated for the day ahead, for the afternoon, for the evening, or whatever, is what's going to happen. So, to the extent there's any extroverted intuition in the mix, that's to say, new ideas of what might happen instead, he wants to be the source of them himself because he's able to factor in the extent to which it's disruptive of his existing SI operational value. Extroverted intuition in the dominant slot, for example, is intuitive only insofar as it gets what's obvious. It gets what's introvertedly intuitive enough to know how to deviate from it, right? Like, and that process is an intuitive process, but in that regard, both intuitives have both intuition DOMs have equally robust relationships with both forms of intuition. It's just from a different angle. You're going to see a lot more of it from an NE-DOM because they're putters of information, extroverts, they're action types, than you are from, say, an INFJ because they're receiving types. There's just as much attention going on. It's just going on non-publicly for the most part. Or the extent to which it's being expressed publicly is limited, crafted, revealed as the singularities coalesce, I guess, which is at a slower pace from a listener's perspective than fumbling around through the intuitive fields, which is what extroverted intuition does. Talk about NI in the sixth slot. Well, I think it's perhaps best illustrated by Horse Mumbler. Horse Mumbler, more than anybody I know, wants to do this stuff. So, Horse Mumbler, what do you think about knowledge versus belief? He'll say, well, okay, well, let's say we were going to ask that question by assuming first that belief and knowledge are different, but not being clear about what the definition. Now, don't get me wrong here. I'm not saying that is the status quo. It's just, and then, etc., 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 right? That's what countervalued NI looks like. He's still dealing in matters that trade in the currency of introverted intuition, of intuition, right? So, when things pop as communicative matters, because we're really talking about communicative matters, then what that means is they have identity, not just meaning. When things just have meaning, but not identity really, then you get some fairly dry TI lecture. Okay? To the greater extent that you can create identity through a variety of approaches with that TI lecture, the more it will have NI resonance. So, there's an inherent contradiction to a certain extent between thorough explanation on a reducible level and or thorough explication on a reducible level and good explanation on multiple levels, right? In other words, I've been thinking about it a lot because I'm trying to put together I am putting together this class thing. Part of which I shared some notes on it earlier, which means right off the bat, I'm doing some kind of NI six-ish stuff. I'm insisting that all this framework be done before we get into the actual matters at hand. But I'm aware of the risks of that, and I am going to end up limiting and linking everything back in holistic ways. I'm also going to have visuals, slides, things like that, and break it into the right size chunks so that I'm going to, to the best of my ability, give each of the classes and video presentations its own identity as well as just presenting a lot of meaning. What does TI6 look like? I mean, it looks like... Why are you making me explain this? It's just how the world works. That's TI6. Look, it's not like you can break down every little piece of it. It's a complex process here, but just that's how it works. That's TI6. Music teacher guy? I don't know who music teacher guy is. Siegfried says, yeah, just have me on standby and I'll berate you whenever you're doing something with the cost of efficiency while keeping the goal in mind, the goal being the most Ericist of Eric streams. Well, you know, the other issue is I have a finite number of hours in the day and a finite amount of that I want to direct towards like purposeful work. I'm feeling pleased with myself of late because it seems like the work I've been doing has been more purposeful. And at least I'm making a concerted effort to implement a smart, well thought out plan regarding the shorts, for example. I don't know who you're talking about. Oh, you're talking about Lady Lou? I mean, Love Who? You talking about Love Who? Might be talking about him. I don't know. What I do know is I don't want to get stuck up in the... I don't want to get stuck up above the tree line too long. Talking about cognitive functions and stuff. And so I may kind of jump back and forth. I may do an overview of the frameworks, jump into something more concrete, then jump back to the framework, jump back to something more concrete. I'm not exactly sure how I want to coordinate the thing because I guess one of the reasons I am feeling comfortable and confident and happy with myself right now is that I'm doing something with that I know how to do well from lots of experience. Specifically, make curriculum for a class that conveys it successfully instills the knowledge in an accessible way into the students that was accessibly not there before. Eric, tell us about the day you have had. Was it great? Was it super duper awesome great? Any update on the driveway mystery? It was kind of a hazy day to start out with because I took a Clonny last night and I was woozy when I woke up. And then I could tell that my dad had forgotten about my birthday. So I said to Rachel, hey, go in and say, Eric and I are going to be barbecuing for his birthday later tonight if you want to join us. And he had in fact forgotten, and he did want to join us. And mostly, I don't really care about whether he remembers my birthday or not. It feels so like crass, but it's like, well, if he remembers, he'll give me some cash for my birthday. So I could use some cash. So I'll try to think of the subtlest way to remind him that it's my birthday. And I was right, you know. It's not that I didn't want to have dinner with him or anything. It's just normally he would say no to that because it's not his idea. And generally, ideation must be done by circumventing the actual ideation by brute forcing lists of ideas and mashing them together until the right one clicks. Well, yeah, there is a lot of trial and error. The thing about expert intuition is there's a lot of trial and error. In other words, you don't know first, right? You don't know. You don't have the vision first. You've got the creative energy first, and the vision follows. So, any update on the driveway mystery? What was it? Tell me more about my day. When Delilah came by, and after I had napped some more and stuff, and gave me some ups, then we had dinner, and then we went and got weed and whippets. Then we came back here. Rachel was a lot more tired than me because she didn't have ups, and so she went to bed pretty quick. And then I'm trying to master basically the stop motion thing. Okay, so it's like the way I'm doing it is push record, push pause, and then move the guy a little bit, right? But I need to, in that case, I need to have some kind of vision of what the thing is I'm doing, right? So that the motions are going to be in coordination with it. And really, it's like I should watch the thing that they're going to be engaging with and then make them move accordingly. But I don't typically have that kind of vision first. So that's something I was trying to work on tonight, and I was pleased with my progress and pleased with my conceptual progress. Like, I'm understanding where my shortcomings are and how exactly the NI and the NE fit together, and where in fact it's like it's difficult not to have NI, right? Like, because I don't know exactly what I'm going to be saying. Because I realized I can excise the talking part to a separate thing now. So I can do I can do it the smart way to do it. The problem is, the smart way to do it for me means the motions of the dolls it's very difficult for me to line it up with the story, because I don't know the story until I say the story. But I'll figure out a way around that too. I got a TE around it, you know. What I mean to ask you is, how indicative are your NE tests when comparing types with somewhat wonky expert intuition such as NE polar and NE inferior? They're fantastic. They're my most accurate test. I can tell the difference anyway between 4 and 7, if that's what you're asking. I think it may be difficult to... That might be one that I'd say I'd have a hard time articulating exactly the difference clearly enough to say, here, now you can try it and prove it for yourself, like I should be able to with those. But maybe it's because I'm an NE Dom, I can tell the difference. The difference in part is fourth slot doesn't like to be put on the spot and believes themselves to be more ideationally robust than they can display, which is not the case with polar. Polar presents it as, well, why would I want randomness, basically, you know? Well, what's the purpose of randomness? I gave you the best one I could come up with. Well, I could come up with more, I guess, but why would I do that? It's like it would just be extra noise for no reason. So that's part of the difference. It's like fourth slot's a little bit defensive about it, and but also self-aware of the fact that they don't do well under pressure or on the spot, whereas polar rejects the idea that randomness is necessary to do well on the spot at something, right? I hope what I said is clear enough. I think it is, maybe. Oh yeah. You don't try to do anything without already knowing what it is you're going to do, or knowing how to do it. And those are separate questions, right? The thing is, I will definitely begin doing something, both not knowing what I'm doing and not knowing how to do it. This happens all the time. So, isn't that weird? How could you begin doing something? How can you even say it's something you're beginning then? Well, I'm mashing the potatoes around the scene, you know? Like when I started with, not corduroy, but with the girl, Kenya Marie, I had a vague notion of her being lost in the woods or something. But beyond that, I didn't really know why I was having her move this way or that way or the other way. I was just having her move a little bit, right? And then I found a forest, this particular picture, in fact, for her to go in front of. And then I said, I had made the audio part of the storyline. One thing I realized is I can't, because of the scrolling background, I have to use whole chunks. I can't use a line here, a line here, a line here. So I have to kind of change my approach towards making the narratives as well. It's a lot of complication, really. It's an amazingly richly complicated thing, this idea of making a 15-second short that's vertical. Then do INTJs believe themselves to before SE capable than they actually are? Yeah, probably. Not necessarily more capable than they are, but capable when they need to be, and reluctantly agreeing that they need to be more. Something like that. If that's distinct enough, I'm not sure. I'd find an image specifically made to be seamless. I'm sure they'd be somewhere online intended for things just like this. Yeah, well, this one seems to be seamless. I did in fact search online first. I just decided to try out my own pictures here in this stream. I'd not tried any of them before. I tried one of these ones first. So yeah, it's true. I don't need to make my own things seamless or whatever. I could just find them online. There's probably, but I could also look up how to make your thing seamless. You know, I might have a panorama or two. Also, I could just try to find the right photo that is seamless, or I could make something like I made earlier, which was easy to make seamless, which was this. Not that one. Not that one. Not that one. Not that one. Oops. God damn it. Where's the boost picture? No. No. There. Image 2. So, in this image 2 here, what I did is I took those 9 separate images and I made one long image like this. In fact, it's a little bit too big to fit, right? But I wish I had made that spot smaller there, but other than that, you know, because it's showing information, I guess, it works out fine. I don't know why this is fine, you know, whereas like a photo is less. I can't explain why exactly, but there's a reason. You guys know why. It's hard to explain why. Yeah, well, the problem is I just didn't I wasn't that careful, you know. Like this space is bigger. I needed to make each end space extra small because they were going to combine into one space, you know. Well, this is part of my attack on the shorts algorithm. Okay, so I have noticed that in the shorts feed, the videos that have 24 million, whatever, they've all got one of two things or both: boobs, animals, or boobs and animals. Okay. So I said to myself, Eric, what can you do to contribute to this problem? And I came up with that particular short with corduroy, having learned that there are 9 kinds of woman chest, and voicing his curiosity about it. Do you know INTJ artists in your personal life or in general, popular ones? In my personal life, no. Do I know INTJ artists? Well, okay, I think Basanti's got good art, really good art instincts. I don't know if he considers himself an artist, but I don't probably, but I probably wouldn't be that positive about his bass instincts. But his humor, his joke, his comedy instincts are right on point. I think Jeremy Bicklin is an excellent craftsman with music. There's certain artistry to mixing and mastering and stuff. Excuse me. And orchestration and shit like that. He's an artist in that kind of sense and in the highest order, but I don't like his music. So, I think that when it comes to music in general, INTJs get infected by too much TE. Ironically, I think I can think of a couple people I believe to be INTJs. They're kind of like famous, or at least maybe one or two that are humorous, because they're so bad at FE. It's the only place where their TE can't fuck everything up. Because Arts NI and Operational TE run afoul of each other ultimately. Knowing how to do fancy shit is not a good way to know how to make good art. No. That you're talking like a crazy woman at a crazy convention whose name tag says crazy and who's giving a lecture currently to nobody about the virtues of craziness. Okay? So just knock it off. Just knock it off. Let's start a Kickstarter campaign helping Bane & Moynihan to knock it off. How much money do you think it's going to cost to get Bane & Moynihan to knock it off? Is that expensive? You have to buy him omelets or something? There, now I'm cool. Everyone was worried maybe I wasn't cool enough. Who's Steven Wilson? Is that your mom Sancho? I don't know what type he is. In the same amount as U.S.'s yearly spending on the military industry. I want that much money for me instead of whatever else is going to. I'd like to have all of the money that is going to various things to go to me instead. That would be so much better. Then I could decide how to distribute the money. I distribute it better than however it's being distributed. Mostly I spend it on myself, my cat, me, Rachel, me, Delilah, me, my dad. What do you mean selfish? I'm sure you meant to use the word selfless. Being willing to take on all that responsibility. Pretty selfless of me, I'd say. He's so selfless. He has a self. Liar. Selfless. If we were really selfless, we wouldn't be talking about him as a he. We just refer to it as an it. Do you feel a semantic kind of bliss or feel good chemicals when you stretch your tendons or muscles, or is that only an SE tendency? I don't know. I feel great when I do that stuff. I mean, certain kinds of stretching and stuff. Not all stretching. Like, yeah, I definitely have a full blast rai. I mean, I have what's called rai. I don't know if what you're talking about is the same thing. Rai is when you get comfortable and you're right temperature and everything, and you're just like rai. Talking about like that kind of shit, yeah. What do you mean? Oh, somatic, right? I was gonna ask, what do you mean semantic? Somatic. That makes more sense. That has something to do with the body or something. I'll have to Google it. Enroll in a yoga class. No. That's too much SC and too little go. Too little go into SI land. SI land is relaxing, man, not semantics. No, it's somatics. Yeah. Related to the body, especially distinct from the mind. Oh, yeah. Relating to the soma is the body. My body is a somatic thing. Yes, it is. Okay, well, you learn something new every day. Today what we learned that was new was whatever it is we were just talking about. And that was kind of exciting. That was the most exciting thing any of you had ever experienced. Which is saying quite a bit. Because most of you live in a world mostly filled with excitement. So, Steven Wilson is fucking great. I'm so glad for Steven Wilson. Oh, Steven Wilson, can I touch your greatness? Just a little bit. Would that be okay? Would it be alright if I fondle your greatness a little bit? Just a hair. Just a hair of greatness fondling. Well, I suppose one or two hairs of greatness fondling won't hurt. Thanks. That means so much to me. Ooh, that greatness makes me wanna spew man seed. Like there's no tomorrow. What do you mean there is no tomorrow? There must be some kind of tomorrow. None whatsoever, you say. Well, that is shocking news. There. Finally, I got that thing like that. That's what I wanted to do, so I can make it the right size. Pyow. See, it's so much too big that I have to pyow it down a lot. Pyow. Pyow. Still so much too big. Pyow. It's still so much too big. Pyow. I guess that's fine. If tomorrow is just a rain shower, then yesterday is a storm. And Wednesday will be soft and cool, while Thursday will be warm. You know that old song? By Wednesday and the Throw-Ups? Wednesday and the Throw-Ups? That's a terrible name. Not that bad, really. The poses are probably useful in some way. I don't think they exist otherwise, but I agree. Put your own pace, as everyone's tolerances differ. Also, I feel like it's better for your own body to stretch the way you want to do it, and not to try to make all these poses. Any thoughts from the chat? Am I forbidden from commenting on it? I will answer your question. This is what I think about poses. Like, let's say I were going to stretch. I might be like, oh, stretch, right? Okay. That's kind of a comfortable kind of stretching, right? That's a regular, comfortable kind of stretching. The kind of stretching anybody can write home to mom about and say, hey, that was fine, I was just stretching. But, what if you want to go real crazy and do one of these kind of stretchings? Oh, touch my toes. Now the thing is, that kind of stretching, that's going to make this part of your body down here, this part of your body, feel like, Okay, let's demonstrate again. Like that one takes some, that's like an SE kind of stretching, right? Whereas like, like that's an SI kind of stretching, you know what I'm saying? Demonstrations of stretching everywhere you go. I'm demonstrating stretching and I'm demonstrating more. Demonstration day is here today. I'm demonstrating stuff I'll demonstrate what it looks to be a pussy and to be tough. This is what it looks like to be a puss. I'm scared of everything. This is what it looks like to be tough. Oh yeah? And that's the difference. Oh, wonderful kitty. Daddy loves you. My cat has pretty strong capacity to make me retarded. I want you to know that I decided to look at your stream for the first time in a while, and this is what I now see as a result of doing that. Tune in next time for Eric's But now I'm discussing stretching self-help lounge, okay? We're talking about two different kinds of stretching, which you might call your SE stretching, or what you might call your SI stretching, okay? Two different kinds of stretching for two different kinds of Gretchen. If you're like most people, you've got two different girls named Gretchen on your hump list. And that's what we're discussing today. How many Gretchens are on your hump list? You can answer anywhere from 0 to 10. I actually don't have any Gretchens on my hump list. But, I don't know any Gretchens. So, that's a significant factor. Highly significant. Where is there? What am I doing? Nothing? But we just finished having things that were extremely highly significant being discussed. What are we discussing now? Nothing? Have I ever ran through a field of flowers like in the background? No. More importantly, have I ever run through a field? Past participle, hero lamb. Past participle. God, I can't believe you used a regular past tense there. Even though the mood is subjunctive. I mean, come on, bro. Come on. What's happened to the subjunctive mood, you know? How sad is this state of affairs we have with just people not respecting the subjunctive mood? What could be worse than that? Nothing. There's nothing worse than that. Oh, sure. Torture, murder, genocide. Those are not good either, but not nearly as bad as conjugating your verb incorrectly when using the subjunctive mood. I mean, no. No, not okay. Why don't you just spit in the face of our Lord Jesus Christ? Even that wouldn't be as bad. Okay, good. I've cleared up some with the hope and intent that said well, the most menial thing I can think of. I'm gonna assume you say menial labor. I'm gonna limit my thing to labor since I don't know what really else is modified by menial. I guess I mean, there's a linkage there to the word demeaning, but okay, well, let's just talk about menial tasks. Gosh, that's a tough question because I think of the word menial as having two separate connotations that I'm not sure which should be prioritized. On the one hand, I think of it as being useless little tasks. On the other hand, I think of it as being unpleasant tasks that nobody wants to do. In the latter category, it would be something like cleaning the bathrooms, you know. But in the former category, it would be something like getting coffee for people and, yeah, you know. Eric, I have recently participated in a typing session by a company affiliated with my college. The results are I'm a coordinator and analyst. The test is based on used work and some other data. Well, good for them. I'm not really at a spot now where I'm interested in particularly evaluating, looking into. Yes. Ori 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 ori. Sul kaita aniata nin mayas itiana. I don't know what any of that means. What do you say your career choice should be? Cheese eater? Professional cheese eater? That's not a bad career. You could travel the world, eat cheese, comment on cheese. You could have opinions about cheese. I need some more coffee. Here's an ink pink stink. Shiny photon conflict. Light fight. It's a light fight. It's a light fight. Light fight. Oh yes, it's a light fight. What do they say about cheese? I don't know what they say about cheese. Business analyst or business consultant? Well, good for you. You get to consult people about businesses. Hey, your business sucks. That'll be $5,000. Oh, I see. You know what happened there is I played extroverted intuition, assuming that you had made a mistake, and my interpretation of what you probably meant was more likely to be true than what you literally said. So I dismissed what you literally said as a mistake on your part, not worth noting, and proceeded from there accordingly. Such is the way. Such is the way of the NE Dom. This is how I got many test questions wrong at school too. Okay, so I should have asked you to clarify what this new category of thing was that you were introducing. Or confirm at least that it wasn't not a new category of thing you were introducing. After all, categories of things are my favorite kinds of things. Isn't that right, Capillo? Yeah, it's so goddamn right. Capillo, I didn't know you cursed. Shut the fuck up. Capillo. Don't use that kind of language. That's crass, and it kind of makes you feel like, hey, that's assaultive to my tender virginal ears. And that's fair. That's as fair as 100 million fairness explosions. Okay, so we're talking fairness, we're talking fairness explosions. Inky Pinky Stinky. Depp said on the trial, Amber's words were no species of truth. I thought it was a fun expression. It's a good one. Triples are hard. Let's see. Okay, so this is an Inky Pinky Patinky. Okay? Inky Pinky Patinky. So it's 223. And it's a a spiteful, perspiring Italian staple. It's a spiteful, perspiring Italian staple. It's an Inky Pinky Pinkety. Anybody want to guess at it? I just made one up right now. And I will do it. No. Close. No. Not right though. It's a spiteful, perspiring Italian staple. No, it's a three-parter. So, 2, 2, 3. It's a 2, 2, 3. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a 2, 2, 3. Get it right. You gotta have 3 words. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The first word's got 2 syllables. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The second word as well. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And the third one has 3. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's an Inky Pinky Pinkety. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's see if we could do a 4. That'd be fun. Let's try it. Okay, I got one. It's a 4, okay? This is a sourpuss stink eye ability barrage. A sourpuss stink eye ability barrage. Sourpuss stink eye ability barrage, and it's a 4-1, and it's a Inky Pinky Dinky Plinky. Okay? Inky Pinky Inky Pinky. It's all 2s. All 2s, okay? How can I flex my NI on people in similar fashion you're flexing your NI on people right now? Is that what I'm doing? I'm flexing it? You can't really. I mean, it's a receive function. Well, I mean, the thing is, you've got to be in a setting where there's balls being thrown, right? So, situations where there are a lot of ideas being thrown around are going to be ones that are conducive to you standing out as the one comment that really mattered, right? But in a context like this, where you still have the capacity to do that, and that does happen. Like the fact that this question has got me. This is you flexing your NI right here. That's a very intriguing question, right? And it also brings to light a lot of presumptions, I guess. The answer to that, by the way, was dour glower. A dour glower power shower. A dour glower power shower is a sourpuss stink eye ability barrage. You see? Isn't that fun? Okay, good news. I went to make myself a cup of coffee, and when I opened the microwave, voila, I had already made a cup of coffee. Sourpuss. Dark Sunshine says, I like to listen to your stream while studying. There's a constant blabbering of noise of any age. Just the right kind of blabbering for me, rhyme intended. I mean, it makes sense that you'd be comfortable listening to me blather on about a variety of different things because the nature and qualities of the blathering are consistent with your absolute value by which you judge the external world, namely your fifth slot function. And also because being an intuition dom and an IDOM means being receptive to the most it makes you much more of a curve surfer than a non-intuitive, right? Like in general, and it's kind of it's not a very easy thing to talk about, but it's nevertheless true that it takes, I think, ENTPs a long time to accept what INFJs probably know early on and have trouble reconciling. But it's that, what do you do if you really are special, right? That if you really do understand things, it seems like, better than almost everybody around you. If you really do feel as though it's like there's a lot of YouTubers, right? And it's not like I've gone around and watched them all or listened to what all they have to say. And yet, nevertheless, I feel as though I'm distinct and better in certain concrete ways. Whether this is like a insane delusional optimism given the fact that I haven't viewed all these channels, or whether it's representative of being an outlier in any particular direction and valuing that directionality of which you're an outlier, whatever the quality is, it's not something that I naturally believe in. It's something that I've had to come to believe in because of years and years of experience in which I've not encountered people I found myself feeling threatened almost not at all, which is kind of surprising. Very surprising. Because I'm certainly susceptible to feeling threatened if I felt like there were people out there who were being Eric better than Eric is, right? That's the most threatening of all possible things, is that somebody out there is a better version of me, basically like me, but a better version of me, and that I have no choice but to see that and accept it. That would make me. That would crush my spirit, to a certain extent. But the thing is, It's almost as though I played defense against that my whole life by diversifying so much my attentional investments that it's going to be hard for anybody to be a version of me, right? Why are you angry? Yeah, yeah, yeah. This is so much my INTJ friend. He wrestles with bears? Wow. He wrestles with the fact that he's wicked smart and nobody can relate and he doesn't know what to do about it. Oh. Eric, but what seems to annoy us and make it difficult to reconcile is that mappy types don't get any recognition what they're doing. There are no prizes or applause. Well, I mean, not for the job that we do. But the thing is, there are, but they tend to be posthumous. It's like there's a price to being a curve surfer, which is to say, you're too far in front. You're the people who come up with a great idea that somebody else comes up with a shittier version of it, and they make the money off of it. It's just what it means to be a curve surfer. If you're here watching this live stream and interested in the kind of things that I'm talking about, to some extent, you're a curve surfer. Because what we're doing here is not equivalent to what's being done in other places in lots of different ways. The philosophy here is much more robust. The cognitive function ideation is much more robust. And this discussion about various things, aesthetics, linguistics, whatever, is much more sophisticated. There's a actual conversation going on. It's not like, ENTPs love being creative. 10 ways to know you're really an ENTP. Number 1, you just love being creative. It's not stupid ass shit like that, right? Which makes it already distinct from 90% of the shit out there, at least in the same area of content. I don't know, you can't have everything. You can't be out on the front edge and also be recognized by the masses. It's like Feynman said one time, if I could explain it to you, it wouldn't have won me the Nobel Prize. If I could explain it to you, it wouldn't have won me the Nobel Prize. That's what he said. The mapping types are, there are actually two kinds of mapping types. There are the meta-analysts, which are mapping both as a dominant nature and mapping as an operational value as well. And then there are the analysts, which are mapping types as a dominant nature, but experiential types in terms of their operational value. Then third, you've got your executives who are particularists in their dominant frame, but mapping in their operational value. And then lastly, you've got executors who are mapping in both. Okay. Which county would you like? Would you like Monterey County? Santa Cruz County? How about San Jose County? It was mentioned in one of my management classes that Bezos said if you want to be innovative, you got to be misunderstood. On some level, he's right, but he seems to be an outlier in the most ordinary field. There is getting money and growing businesses. Wasn't doing something that someone else would be. He isn't that special. Well, yeah, that's right. Melting Zero. I mean. Well, I think what you see in Bezos is an unusual amount of clarity about how to implement a process of steady TEing, you know? And I think he deserves credit for being not so much innovative as very right in his perspective on on the process he was executing, and very consistent in executing it, right? So the interesting thing is innovative, right? It's the term innovative. Well, it is the case that to be out on the sort of curve of things, you've got to be representing some negation to the status quo or some affirmation to a change to the status quo in terms of what people generally believe. And for it to actually be the edge, the cutting edge of things, others have to catch up to you and agree with you. Okay? So, oh yeah, Kitty. You know, also known as Wonderful, Wonderful Kitty, having wonderful times. There she is. So it's like, okay, well, who's special and how special are they and how innovative are they and how different and stuff like that. I don't know. One of the things that magical thinking allows me to do is sidestep that question and say, well, because what I'm doing, regardless, is an attempt to uphold truth, either holistic truth, aesthetically or whatever, or reducible truth, logically, observational truth in terms of basically being honest and disinterested, etc., that it's perfectly safe for me to not worry about comparing myself against others in terms of being innovative or special or anything, because as long as I firmly, as long as I don't have any real doubt about my path, which I don't. It's like my path is clear. It's tell the truth, preach the truth, talk about language, explain things. And that's one of my clear paths. And I have a few different other clear paths for me. But because the path is clear, I don't worry about comparing myself, because after all, even if I do compare meow, it's not really my path. INFJ is intuitive, ethical introvert. Yeah. I mean, Boba, and that's how you lose the wrench. And that's how you lose the wrench. I thought you were trying to post a link earlier. Sorry, Melting Zero. She's mostly the owner of me, I guess, as they say in Cat Town. Okapio. So beautiful and good and true. Yes, Daddy loves you. Oh, yeah. What a love machine. What a kitty of magnificence. Your regal majesty is constantly re-astonishing me again for the first time. Forever without stopping. Well, I'll tell you this, Dark Sunshine, who says, I do like to compare myself, I just don't know what to compare myself to. I am lacking a good metric to uphold myself. I hope it does arrive once I get older. Alright, so a couple of things to say about that. An ESTP friend of mine, Taylor, said to me one time, your problem is that you're comparing against your ideal rather than against actual alternatives, which was an eye-opener for me, because it made me realize that when I actually compared against my peers, I compared really well on most metrics that seemed to matter to me. It's like when I became director of a school, after years of fretting about whether I was doing an adequate job as a teacher, and then I had a bunch of teachers underneath me, I realized, like, oh my god, everybody does such shitty work compared to what I was doing, you know? Because I was comparing myself against the ideal. I knew I could do a better job, and I was comparing against what I, in theory, could do rather than what my competition was, right? That's one thing to note. But what's worked for me, and this is it's shifting from NI to SI. I say I can always fairly and accurately, after time, compare my own stuff against my own stuff. So I can compare my own videos against my own videos, and I can have a pretty good, accurate sense. Once I've lost a certain recency bias, I get a pretty accurate sense of where something falls in my splay of creations, right? Some things hit more than others and have more lasting, like I have more lasting fondness for them, or perhaps permanent fondness for them, you know? Others less so. And so I can at least begin to differentiate between this effort versus that effort within my own body of work. And when one starts framing it like that, then it's less of a concern about comparing against outside things. Like, I end up nowadays comparing against outside things in the following regard. When I make music, I listen to it, and then I'll listen to something that I know is well produced after it to see how much worse it is, basically. I'll listen to it in a mix of regular songs, and sometimes it doesn't stand out like as amateurish in the mix of these regular songs, and that's always gratifying. It never sounds as good as like 21 Guns or something, which I use as a standard for something that's incredibly well produced. Green Day's song 21 Guns. It's a really well produced song. If you listen to like the dynamics, the instruments, the meow, the meow, the meow. Creativity is difficult to measure for a means of comparison since what constitutes quality creativity is relative. No, it's not. That's absolutely wrong. I mean, so the first lesson, the first rule as an artist is whether you can defend the position or not, to embrace the truth, which is to negate aesthetic relativism and to embrace aesthetic absolutism. Every artist always acts as though there were some aesthetic standard to which they're trying to attain, and it's never the case that aesthetics are not subject to some kind of critique. So we have that reality, even though it's irreducible. We don't want to ever allow ourselves to think that bad art, bad taste, is just someone else's equally valid opinion. It's not the case, and we don't want to make that mistake. And that's the worst mistake an artist can make, is to think that everything's equally good and that they can make no bad choices then, right? Hey, I'm an artist who's immune to making bad art choices because everything's all just relative. Sorry. That's not the case, you know. The point is, the creative aspect, the creative act may be one that's envisioned ahead of time, one that's just spit out randomly or whatever. But the thing is, once it's done, you're looking at the compilation of a bunch of artistic choices having been made, and you're looking at this whole thing and seeing if it works or not, you know? Does quantity equal bad? Well, sort of. Like, from Steve Allen to They Might Be Giants, people who write 1,000, 2,000 songs have a low hit ratio by most people's metrics. And that's just part of the NE way. There's a lot of trial and error going on. But, you know, the funny thing is, there's also an important acknowledgement that as that process continues along, the artist improves. Interestingly, my dad at dinner tonight was talking about how nobody comes up with any good ideas after they're 30. It was almost a slap in the face, you know. But it was his attempt to assert the dominance of his frame of reference, which is that SI is your operating value, and that ideation, new ideas and stuff, are for kids, basically. You never hear of anybody over 30 solve a math problem these days. Well, it is true that I frequently read about post-grad student solving. Because he didn't want to be a mod and didn't want to tell me that, so he just broke a rule or something, or like, you know, got in trouble. I suspect that's the reason Melting Zero. It was like I put him in an FE bad spot, so he just did something bad, so I would take it away. Right. It's holistic, but not relative. So the best songs, you can't you can't nail down any specific thing or formula or element or whatever that makes it good. It's the interplay of these dynamic elements that create something that's no longer just music but is an identity, a song that has a long lifespan in terms of its resonance. So if I produce a song and 4 out of 5 disliked it, does that mean it's bad even though everyone has a different taste? Well, 4 out of 5 isn't a big enough pool of data to draw conclusions from. You need to have a lot more data than that. But at some point, yeah, if everybody hates your song, then it's almost certainly bad. You could be so far ahead of the curve that just nobody gets it. But at a certain point, if everybody hates it, then everybody hates it. You know, gangster rap style beat. I don't know if I can do that or not. I mean, I guess the first thing you have to do is find the right kind of kick. Like, let's see. Okay, let me close this and reopen it. I should make a good gangster style beat. You really gotta start with the right kick drum, I think. You know? They like to use like weird kick drums, like that. It's kind of got a lot of pitch to it, you know? Alright, so while I'm messing around with the mic on, I'll turn off the, you just hear it kind of muted in the mic, but then I'll put it on, I'll turn off the mic and I'll put on the actual sound of it after a bit. So, we start with a kick like that, and we need a, like a pad. I want to go with a pad right away, because I don't normally use pads, but if you're going to go hip-hop style, let's find some kind of a pad, you know? Okay, so we'll drop that a little in the mix, you know? Or even pan it off to the right and add another pad, you know? Like, not that one. pitch it differently. So there, that's better. Alright, so now we're gonna put some snare in, you know. Alright, so like this super compressed snare, right? It stands out a lot, but it's gonna get mixed in with the hats. These are really natural sounding snare. Let's try these ones. I like this muffled one. It sounds like it goes pretty well with it. Now we need some hats. I think we want that thing half as often, so. There. That's what I meant to do. Now I've done it correctly. Now I need the hats. Other hats, let's see. Miscellaneous hats. I like that. It's called default hi-hat. Okay. Now we need this one. Go like this. Well, I made this beat, but it's not very gangster. Just kind of rolls along like a gangster. Not rolling along in gangster style musically, but rather just like a gangster going to a shoe store to buy some shoes. not for himself, but for his niece. It's her birthday. It's that kind of beat. I mean, yeah, I could turn down the master channel. Very dark, right? Everybody growing up in hell, knowing what it's like to be in hell. Lot of people pulling all the flesh in your bones. Yeah, you're all alone. It's like that kind of goth shit, you know? Baddest on the block, conditional morals. I'm gonna fuck your girl, maybe tomorrow, maybe not though. Maybe I'm actually loyal to my own girl. You won't even know, I don't even care. Yeah, you may be concerned about something I might do. And instead of reassuring you, I'll let you continue to have your scary doubts, because I'm evil, bad, and mean, and nobody better come around this scene. I'm devilish, like a goth. So devilish, like a goth. Wouldn't you say that's kind of the beat this is? Now let's say we wanted to make it a lot different all of a sudden. Could we do that? How would we do that? Well, maybe we could start adding some more bass notes into it. Well, you know what I would say to that? I would say I don't regret particularly indulging myself today on this live stream. I got a lot of good work done recently, and or a lot of improvement in knowledge and stuff. So I understand that playing around with the sequencer is not something anybody wants to watch on a live stream. And I don't plan on making a habit of it, but I don't know. Like a lot of times, I just want to have like a, say, a kick snare playing, you know? Just like a simple kick snare, just. Like this. Nice straightforward kind of beat, you know? It's something you can build stuff off of. You don't want super complicated beats usually. more square. Once upon a time, I undertook to tell a story time and time, a song, a story to tell. It started out with a simple beat, something that I wanted to try to tap my feet, and then I began to explain the narrative. So this is a story about some kids that were of multiple ages. I don't mean they were children, kind of kids nor ghosts, but rather just regular people. And this group of kids, well, they went out of town. They rode on motorcycles, rode all around. Someone in a mean and decided to put on helmets. done live streaming now. I'm gonna go to bed. For those of you who sat through the travesty of a disaster or a fiasco of a pseudo stream, I greatly appreciate your patience. For those of you who didn't, I totally understand. I get it. It sucked ass. Anyway, thanks for being here. I love you all. And don't forget to eat plenty of cheese.